Snow White hairdo. We cut it all off.
Who got backlash, which could ruin Disney's show remake, Snow White.
Well, hilariously, I do not know what they watched. I did not see it. We were not allowed to.
Hey there, it's Eileen. When Disney drama collides with Joe Rogan, you know things are about to get explosive. Rachel Zegler's Snow White controversy has reached a boiling point, and Rogan's fiery comments are lighting up the internet. Could this be the final nail in the coffin for Disney's live-action remake? Buckle up, because this drama is about to take a jaw-dropping turn. Sleep well. Let's rewind to where it all began. Disney's teaser release for the Snow White remake in August 2024. Fans were eagerly anticipating something magical, a nostalgic journey back to one of Disney's most cherished classics. But instead, chaos. Within 24 hours, the teaser faced an avalanche of backlash. It didn't just flop. It made history as the most disliked teaser on YouTube, with nearly 1 million dislikes in weeks. Suddenly, Disney executives were scrambling, and fans, they weren't holding back. Let's dig deeper into this whirlwind.
The original Snow White, so I'm not sure how it's going to measure up.
What was meant to honor Disney's golden era quickly spiraled into an epic disaster. Fans were not just disappointed, they felt frustrated, betrayed, and deeply heartbroken. This wasn't about minor criticisms, it was about Disney seemingly losing touch with the magic that made its classics timeless. And at the center of the storm was one name: Rachel Zegler. The actress cast as Snow White unintentionally became the lightning rod for this controversy, with her remarks and demeanor fueling outrage. So, how did Rachel Zegler transition from a rising star to the face of Disney's biggest PR crisis? Let's break it down. The issues didn't begin with Zegler herself. Disney's creative choices for Snow White had fans puzzled from the very beginning. Chief among these was the bold move to replace the iconic seven dwarves, Doc, Dopey, Grumpy, and the others, with a diverse ensemble of magical creatures. The reaction was immediate, and it wasn't pretty. Fans weren't just upset. They were utterly baffled.
Last summer, Disney suffered a rare mishap on their way to define.
Why take one of the most iconic elements of the story and completely reinvent it? Many fans argued that Disney was overcorrecting in an effort to appeal to modern audiences, but in doing so, it seemed to lose the heart of the original tale. The controversy only escalated when actors with dwarfism criticized Disney for excluding them from roles like the Seven Dwarfs, one of the few chances for representation in major Hollywood productions. In an attempt to address concerns, Disney replaced the diverse magical creatures with CGI versions of the dwarfs, but this decision backfired, igniting even more criticism. Fans labeled the CGI characters as lifeless, awkward, and utterly lacking the charm of the originals. One comment captured the sentiment perfectly. How does a live-action movie feel faker than the 1937 cartoon? Instead of presenting something fresh and authentic, Disney's remake felt like a step backward. What was meant to celebrate progress and innovation ended up alienating the very audience it aimed to please.
The cartoon came out in 1937. There's a big focus on her love story. Weird.
Disney's decisions already felt like a series of stumbles that widened the rift with fans. But just when it seemed like the situation couldn't get any worse, Rachel Zegler's comments hit the headlines, transforming an already challenging scenario into a full-blown PR crisis. Initially, fans had been cautiously optimistic about Zegler's casting as Snow White. She was young, talented, and had earned critical acclaim for her performance in West Side Story. However, her interviews soon took a turn that alienated many, thrusting her into the center of the controversy, and hopefully future generations. In one interview, Zegler didn't hold back her criticism of the original 1937 Snow White, calling it extremely dated and describing its central romance as creepy and weird. She further stated, "My Snow White isn't dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming a leader." For generations of fans who had grown up cherishing the original film, these remarks felt dismissive and even insulting. Snow White wasn't merely a tale about love. It was a story rooted in kindness, innocence, and resilience. Zegler's comments seemed to overlook what made the classic resonate with audiences for nearly a century.
I watched it once and then I went on terrified of it. Never revisited.
Fans quickly saw Zegler's remarks as dismissive and disrespectful to the creators of the original Snow White. Social media erupted with comments like, "If she hates Snow White so much, why is she playing her?" TikTok and Twitter users were upset, arguing that someone who didn't respect the legacy of the story shouldn't be the one to bring it to life. But the backlash didn't stop there. In another interview that resurfaced, Zegler revealed that she hadn't watched the animated classic as a child because it scared her. She also described it as problematic and criticized its portrayal of women. Fans were left bewildered, especially when comparisons to Halle Bailey, the star of The Little Mermaid, started to flood the conversation. Unlike Zegler, Bailey had celebrated the original film while adding her own modern take, gaining widespread praise for her approach. Zegler's attitude, however, felt far more combative. Fans struggled to connect with her perspective, and with each new revelation, Disney's problems only deepened. Zegler tried to walk back her comments, but by then, it was too late. The damage was already done.
Her name, Snow White. I am so sorry, Rachel Zegler does not fit that description.
Interview. The audience wasn't willing to forgive or forget, as the backlash against Rachel Zegler continued to snowball. More of her past interviews and social media activity came under intense scrutiny, each new revelation adding fuel to the fire and frustrating Disney fans even more. In one clip, Zegler admitted that she hadn't watched Snow White in over a decade because the movie scared her as a child. Her choice of words didn't sit well with fans. Describing the film as extremely dated and problematic only confirmed what many had already feared. She didn't value the legacy of the story. TikTok and YouTube were flooded with reactions, with one fan summing up the sentiment perfectly. Why would Disney cast someone who doesn't even like the movie? Others pointed to the stark contrast between Zegler and Halle Bailey, whose respectful approach to The Little Mermaid remake earned widespread praise. The situation only worsened when resurfaced Instagram posts revealed Zegler sharing controversial opinions on political matters. While actors are entitled to their views, many fans felt her posts alienated a large portion of Disney's audience. Audiences the studio desperately needed to win back. Zegler's social media presence, combined with her dismissive comments, made her a liability for Disney. Critics argued that the controversy wasn't just about Zegler's words, it was about Disney's failure to manage the situation and protect its brand. As more interviews and posts were surfaced, Zegler became a polarizing figure. Some fans sympathized with the pressure she faced, while others felt she only made things worse. By this point, the backlash wasn't just about Zegler, it was about Disney's approach to modernizing its classics and the growing disconnect between the studio and its audience. In a desperate attempt to regain control of the narrative, Disney released a second teaser trailer, but the backlash was immediate and even more intense. Within hours, the studio pulled the trailer down, a rare and telling move. For many fans, it felt like Disney was running from its critics rather than addressing the deeper issues at hand.
22-year-old actress faced backlash, and the Prince character she labeled a star.
The decision to pull the trailer only fueled more speculation. Was Disney panicking? Were they reconsidering the entire project? Some even began to wonder if the movie would skip theaters altogether and go straight to Disney Plus to limit the damage. Former Disney insiders, including former Imagineers and industry analysts, weighed in, suggesting that the studio needed to return to the basics, telling stories that respected the originals while adding new, fresh elements. But at this point, Disney's issues weren't just about the movie, they were about their brand as a whole, with the Snow White controversy reaching its boiling point. Then, someone unexpected entered the conversation: Joe Rogan. Known for his unfiltered opinions, Rogan doesn't shy away from offering blunt takes on everything from sports to pop culture. This time, his focus turned to Disney, Rachel Zegler, and the chaos surrounding the Snow White remake during an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. Rogan didn't mince words. He addressed Disney's struggles directly, offering a brutally honest solution that resonated with many fans. Rogan stated, "This isn't going to get better for Disney. They've already dug themselves into a hole and there's no way to climb out. If they're smart, they'll just drop this movie on Disney Plus and move on." His point was clear. Disney needed to cut their losses and stop trying to force the project into theaters. The negativity surrounding Snow White had already reached a point of no return. Rogan's comments struck a chord with audiences who had been echoing similar sentiments for months. For many fans, this wasn't just about one failed movie. It was about Disney failing to listen to its audience. They felt the studio had become out of touch, prioritizing flashy changes over what made their classics resonate. Social media exploded with reactions to Rogan's remarks, with fans flooding comment sections with comments like, "Joe is right, Disney should stop digging the hole deeper and just move on," and "Releasing this on Disney Plus would save them from even more embarrassment."
The original cartoon came out in 1937. There's a big focus on her love story. Weird.
Critics agreed that Rogan's blunt assessment highlighted a growing divide between Disney and its audience. His comments reinforced what many fans had already felt. The backlash wasn't going away, and Disney needed to change course before further damaging its brand. Whether Disney will take Rogan's advice remains to be seen, but one thing is clear: the Snow White controversy has become much bigger than just the movie itself. It's now a symbol of Disney's struggle to adapt while staying true to its roots. The backlash surrounding Snow White is about more than just one film. It underscores a growing disconnect between Disney and its audience that has been building for decades. Disney built its legacy on creating timeless classics that resonated across generations, but with the recent remakes, fans feel the studio is prioritizing change over the heart of their beloved stories. Creative decisions like replacing the Seven Dwarfs and altering Snow White's character struck fans as unnecessary. Many felt that Disney was attempting to modernize the story in ways that alienated its core audience. Fans were left wondering, why reinvent something that was already perfect? Rachel Zegler's comments only amplified the frustration. Her dismissive tone regarding the original film made audiences feel as though the legacy of Snow White was being disrespected. Instead of excitement for the remake, fans were left feeling disconnected, and their trust in Disney continued to erode. This controversy isn't just about Snow White, it's about Disney's approach to remakes as a whole. Audiences are calling for stories that respect the originals while introducing fresh ideas. Disney's Snow White remake has become a cautionary tale. Should studios modernize classics, or should they stay true to the originals? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.